Rolling.
Well, hello everybody. I want to welcome you all to our next level project, Strategic Contemporary Gallery here at the Joe VR Center. Thank you for coming. This is kind of like the second opening almost. We had the opening of this show last month, and this month we're following up with an artist conversation, an artist talk, which is going to be really awesome. Can't wait to hear it. So the exhibition is titled Surface Tension, the Beauty and Fragility in Lake Michigan. And what I love about this show is the pairings that happen throughout the exhibition. As you come in, you will see works in pairs. That's because it's a two-person show by Nelson Armour and Ted Glasoe. And it's a really wonderful pairing of two sensibilities, two different artists, both photographers, and working with their own ideas, but then having something in common. And it creates a really nice dialogue between the works that you will see in the show. As you come into the gallery, there are some nice little programs that you can grab as well. Tells you a little bit about the pairings of each piece, which is pretty nice too, and a little map so you know which pairing is where. So it's really nice of you guys to have it designed this way. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let both the artists talk about the works in the show. They're going to select 4 works to start with and talk about it. If you have some questions, also at the end you'll have a little bit of a Q&A so that you can ask your questions as well. So having said that, I leave space for Ted and Nelson.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergio. Hi, I'm Nelson Armour, and this is Ted Glasoe, and we welcome you to our project, Surface Tension. We've been working on this project for about 4 years, and it reflects our love of not only Lake Michigan, but of the environment and our concern about water issues not only here, but kind of metaphorically speaking, all around the world. I think wherever you are in the world, there are a lot of water issues. We have our own. You know, a project like this, we need to thank a number of people. We certainly would like to start with a big thank you to Sergio and Dr. Yanina Gomez for hosting our project. I know Ted had did a podcast with them and ended up submitting our proposal a couple of years ago, and you know, one thing led to another, and we're very grateful to be able to be here. You know, this project, as I said, has been in the works for about 4 years, and we have shown the project in a book form to a whole variety of people over the years, and there's been a lot of input that people have given to us. So I'm in a photographic critique group led by a woman by the name of Jane Fulton Hall, and that photographic critique group offered a lot of input. We were at a photographic festival called Filter Photo, and we showed a lot of our work there and got feedback from many people. So what you see today is not only the inspiration that the two of us have had, but the constructive ideas and suggestions and input of a lot of people. So we really want to acknowledge that. So Ted, you were going to talk a little bit about?
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention, we've got an exhibit catalog that has some essays in it, and some quotes around the room from some of the essayists. So if you're interested, the catalog's for sale. We also have it online at our website, surfacetensionexhibit.com. So they're very good essays. Very good. As Nelson mentioned, we both have a love of the lake and a concern for it, and that's influenced a lot of our work together. Nelson and I met at the Filter Photo Festival about 4 years ago and started to work together and tried to find a way that we could show our work but also affect some sort of change. And there's been a long history of art having an effect on society. One example that I can think of offhand is the Obama poster, if you remember that Hope poster. Sort of changed things, I think, when that came out. The WPA posters that you're all familiar with from the 30s and 40s. So yeah, I think we're trying to follow in that footstep and affect a change and build awareness about the lake and some of the issues.
today, the project has taken on, I think, a level of importance that we didn't imagine 4 years ago. You know, at that time, we knew the lake was in danger. We knew that there was a lot of work being done to move it in the correct direction, and there were a lot of initiatives. And under the current administration, things are going in the opposite direction. And so we're kind of finding it interesting that the exhibit, this is the second venue in Chicago, there'll be a third one. Kind of at this juncture, we feel like it's very poignant that we are showing the exhibit now. We have the Trump administration, new administrator, is very anti the EPA, and he's the head of the EPA. One of their first decisions was to allow coal mining tailings to be put into rivers in West Virginia. And you know, one of their budget proposals is to axe by 95% a reduction of initiatives dealing with the Great Lakes. So we feel like all of a sudden this exhibit is here kind of shouting out in a different way than we imagined when we started, you know, working on it. So we think right now the lake is in great peril, and it really is going to perhaps slide in reverse without a lot of public outcry. So.
And the good thing about that is the governors of the states that touch the Great Lakes have all been very committed to the Great Lakes and funding for them. So we're sort of hopeful that a lot of these budget proposals aren't going to go through, will be fought, and we're certainly hoping that will happen. So, yeah, so I guess I went over our beginnings, and yeah.
So we thought we might talk about all of these photographs are in pairs. One of Ted's, his is on the left, and mine's on the right, as we take a look at them. We thought we would walk you through maybe 4 of the pairs and follow your questions, and if you're interested, we're happy to talk on additional, but to give you an idea of what we had in mind. So would you want to?
Yeah, the pairs were set up on beauty and fragility. Mine are the beauty part, and Nelson's represent the fragility, and you can talk about that, but they will show some of the threats to the Great Lakes. So I love the Great Lakes. I love Lake Michigan. I specialize in that, so my main body of work is all Lake Michigan, and I try to capture it in every possible situation, and color and texture, and I'm always amazed that every time I go down there it looks different, and so I try to capture that. One thing I like to say is I like people to look at it and say, that's Lake Michigan? You know, they've never seen it that way, or they look at it and say, that's Lake Michigan. That's the way I know it from my childhood, from my life. So I'm hoping to, you know, sort of build people's love of the lake and concern for it, and hopefully that'll translate into some action to protect it.
So I have been photographing the lake now about 4 or 5 years at a certain spot in Highland Park called Park Avenue Beach. And I've had the opportunity to actually exhibit the work. I had a solo exhibit with Filter Photo a number of years ago, and I got a lot of really great feedback. One of the things I noticed is that people weren't necessarily moving to the environmental message that, in my mind, I was shooting with. And so I was wondering, is there more that I can do with my images to kind of shake people up a little bit, or get people to wonder a little more? So what I began doing, all of my images, again, are taken at Park Avenue Beach. Different seasons, different times of the day, but I have tried to layer in different manners other issues that are taking place. So this winter sunset, I'm pointing north, and the 2 lights that you see there is the Waukegan Power Plant, which is one of the coal-generating power plants on Lake Michigan. And what I've done, you might see it, you might not. I have also gone to the Waukegan power plant and I photographed it, and I layered a ghost image of the power plant onto the horizon. So you may or may not be able to see that at that point, but if you kind of, maybe it comes in and out a little bit. So the image looks to the Waukegan power plant, and also, I'm addressing the whole issue of coal and the coal industry, and what that's doing for our air and for our water, because all those particles blow across the lake, drop into the lake, et cetera, et cetera. So, and we'll go around the different images. We'll take a look at different things. Ted, you want to do the rivulets in the sand, which is right here. I don't know if you guys want to sit or want to move with us.
Yeah, this image is from Evanston. It's called the Clark Street Beach. And I went down there one afternoon after this pretty heavy rainstorm, and it was just blowing off to the east. But when it had hit the sand, when sand gets wet initially, it gets kind of hard at the top. And these little rivulets were formed in there by the water washing away. And what was kind of neat about it is maybe 15 minutes later they're gone, because it dries out in the sun and blows and they're gone. So, but I kind of like the texture and the way it looked with the storm receding off.
So this image was taken on a late afternoon on July 3rd, and the water appeared to be quite still. If you look carefully, you'll feel long exposure, the water is slightly moving and you get this kind of ethereal scent. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have put into the photograph the logo of one of our favorite polluters, and that is the BP Oil Company through their power plant, their refinery at the south end of the lake, dumps a lot of ammonia, and actually the EPA permits it, a certain level of it. There's a little surprise, I guess, in the image there. In this case, not trying to be too direct, but, bring you to some awareness of it. So, do we want any questions, or should we move on? Inbound to over here.
We picked these, well, it's on the opposite side, so. All right. This image is another long exposure, like Nelson's was. These are airplanes flying into the air for long exposure, so it's sort of the same effect. These rocks are in nice focus, but the lake has a very soft feel. The wind was howling out towards the east, so the clouds are moving east, the planes are moving west, and the rocks are staying still. So, but I liked it just because it was, it's nighttime. It was actually a full moon, which is off frame. But I just love the colors that come out when you let it sit there. Leave it open.
And so mine is another winter scene. And in this case, I've tried to use some graphics dealing with some of the chemical compounds that are in the lake. So this compound represents methylmercury, which is the form that mercury takes when it enters Lake Michigan from the BP oil refinery. It's one form of mercury, and something happens when it comes into the lake. And that is one of the reasons that you should eat very little fish from Lake Michigan, because the mercury gets into the fish and then we ingest it. And it's still a very major health problem. I know, the fishing, the sport fishing industry in Lake Michigan is great. People are out there fishing all the time. A lot of salmon that's been stocked in the lake. But Lake Michigan fish have a tremendous amount of mercury in it. And the other image deals with dioxins. And dioxins are found naturally, like sometimes in a forest fire. Even from the west, we could get dioxins being dropped into the lake. But a lot of the dioxins in the lake also come from just the chemicals, industrial chemicals. And again, they are very hazardous to our health. So in this case, I'm just trying to get people to kind of wonder, okay, well, why does he have these chemical formulas there? Well, what is this all about? So, that's what I'm trying to get at, with an image like this. Questions? Yeah, please.
I think the depicts really strengthen each other. The way you've curated the two together make them more strong. I love the colors and the lines echo each other in each set. So really, really great job with the curation.
Yeah, it was an interesting process pairing all of these photographs. We laid them all on the floor and started working on them. It took us a while, but we began to develop, these pairs. So we were going to go to the spray V2 over here. Okay, so we'll get you to walk around.
Well, this one is yet another variation of Lake Michigan. And I love it because there's this aqua line right along the horizon. And sometimes that's from refraction, the light, the air over the lake actually acts like a lens sometimes, and it'll refract light so that the color right on the edge can change. There's also a phenomenon, it doesn't happen in Chicago as much, but you can actually see over the horizon because the light is refracted through the thing. So sometimes people in Michigan will see the whole skyline of Chicago. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, this is called Yellow Green Lake. And I'm fixated with the horizon. Obviously, I can't do much with it. It's always the same, but I love the way that, the light and the sky and the water keep changing and interacting in different ways.
So there's this wonderful barge at Park Avenue Beach, and when the wave action, comes from the north, you get, even with not large waves, you get this wave action. And this was an early morning sunrise, so the sun was backlighting the image. But if you get up close, you're going to see that I've collaged this with what I call plastic microbeads. Now the microbeads that I use here are much larger than the ones that are found in the lake. These are found in nail salons and are sometimes applied to women's nails. The microbeads that really cause a problem are in toothpaste, they're in cosmetics, they're exfoliants, and they're, what happens is that after we've used them either as makeup or toothpaste, they go down the drain, and the microbeads are not captured in the sewage process. And so the microbeads go out into the lake with the clean water, and the microbeads get caught in the gills of the fish and kill the fish. And it's kind of an example in Lake Michigan of the tremendous problem we have with plastic in water all over the world. And Lake Michigan has a very significant problem. This is a case where Illinois was a forerunner. There was a law passed about 2 years ago that will make it illegal for microbeads to be in products starting next year. And the good thing about this is that these manufacturers aren't going to make products just for Illinois. So when a state does something like this, it has a ripple effect around the country. So these manufacturers will then be finding other, hopefully better products. But anyway, I have two images, this, and there's one over there where I've taken the microbeads, and my approach here was a collage approach with the microbeads. So, has anybody heard of this problem? Good. Ted has pointed out, there's a problem like the fleece that we wear, some of the fleece jackets, when that is washed, some of the fleece fibers, the same thing is happening with it. Some of that then ends up in the lake. So this is not just strictly a plastic, it's kind of a synthetic fiber, chemical issue on that.
I believe those two are the biggest problems, the biggest pollution problems. Ironically, they're the smallest and they're the biggest problem. They're so prevalent.
Well, we're going to deal with one more in the corner over there. I'm happy to go on if people want us to, but we'll give you at least a little discussion of these 5 pairs.
So this one is called Red Wagon. It was taken in Evanston at Lee Street Beach, and I did not set it up. I did not ask people to do that. I just came upon it and it was there. And these people have left their wagon and they're down by the water playing. The interesting thing is they're not in the water because the night before was a rainstorm and they opened the Wilmette locks and raw sewage went into the lake. And so then Evanston and Highland Park and all the cities along there closed their beaches. So it's a beautiful, perfect July afternoon or morning, and you can't swim in the lake. And that's a major problem. The deep tunnel, if you go over a deep tunnel, is designed to mitigate that, but it's not fully working yet. So I think there's another 5 or 10 years, and then it'll theoretically be working. So.
When did they start that, do you know?
Oh boy.
Like ages?
Yeah, 80s. I mean, yeah, no, I know.
They have 3 of the, I think, 4 major quarries. These quarries hold like 85 million gallons of water, and they're working, I think, so. And then my image is just my take on this same image. And this was done through collaging that material, which is the real material, onto the photograph, and then I rephotographed the image to talk about the sewage issue. Well, we have it, Milwaukee has had a very serious problem. They're working heavily on it. Many of the cities around the Great Lakes, this is a major problem. So human waste is still a very significant, problem for the Great Lakes and probably water throughout the world. So I think, you get a sense that each of our pairs are dealing with different kinds of issues like this. We're happy to answer some questions. We could go on for a long time, but it's a very hot night. I think it would be best to kind of end it now. But if you have any questions, feel free. Again, we want to thank Sergio and Dr. Yanina Gomez for being able to show here. And glad that all of you are here tonight. So are there any additional questions or comments?
I just thought it was very interesting. Not only the to it's very educational, but also the environment. Can I ask what your background are?
Sure. In what sense?
Well,
how did I get into photography? Or?
Yeah. Did you do anything before this? Or?
Yeah, I went to college and got a degree in acting. Came to Chicago and worked on that for a while, and then I got into graphic design, another creative field, and then worked with my wife for about 12 years running a business with graphic design and running, and always loved photography and took some pictures here and there, but then about 10 years ago we got a decent digital camera and started taking more and more and more.
This could be a class. What is your background?
Well, photography has been a love of mine since I've been a teenager, but I've been a professional educator. I was a teacher, a principal, a superintendent of schools, and in retirement I was able to really go back to things. I had a dark room throughout my life, but really embraced the digital technology. Again, disposing of the chemicals was one of the biggest issues that moved me.
I guess that's what I'm asking. Where did you pick up all of that knowledge?
Well, I've taken courses and workshops and read a lot and just worked a lot on it. I'm in a couple artistic critique groups, so I've developed more of my craft in that way, and continue with classes and just working really hard at my art.
Very unique. Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions?
I did have one question. There's beautiful color coordination in the pairings. How much manipulation was there with the color, if any, and did you two consult each other about it, or was it just a beautiful serendipity that you ended up with such really incredible color harmonies?
Do you want to start with
Well, yeah, I do. It's funny, that question about manipulating the colors is very common. So what strikes me is, from my perspective, I think, well, of course I manipulated it, you know, because the camera doesn't always catch what your eye catches. And so the way I put it is I try to make it look like I saw it. So I do change some things, but I don't, you know, that sunrise behind there, that almost sunrise it's called. You know, a lot of people look at that and say, they can't be, you know.
So this is where the artist versus the technology comes in, because what you're saying is that you're trying to recreate what you and your own eyes saw.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what the art of photography, you know, it's another medium for expression. So, you know, nobody asks a painter, did you change the color of that? You know, because obviously they did. They chose the color to make it. It's not quite the same with photography, but it is, I do change it. As for the color, what was interesting is I've also often heard curators say the show curates itself, kind of. You know, it's almost like the pieces put themselves in an order that looks good. And that kind of happened with us. We both each other.
You know, I think for me, the colors that are in my photographs are as true to my mind's eye as I can make them, you know, be. You know, nature provides an amazing range of color. And what you see here taken usually either at dawn or at dusk, any of the 4 seasons, this color is happening. We see it all the time. Living here, we just almost take it for granted a little bit. But I think Ted raises an interesting question about photography. With photography, people tend to think that photography is capturing reality. Whereas a painter, we assume the painter has created the artwork, and the photographer is replicating reality. And I think, you know, there is photojournalism where we're trying to capture reality, but I think this kind of is more art. But I think Ted and I, in our different ways, are trying to be pretty true to what we think we saw, because you get home an hour later, is that really what you saw? You know, so it's really trying to do that. So, you know, our collaboration came after we created the work. There is collaboration where people create the work together, and we have talked about that, and that might be another phase of our collaboration, because it continues, but it's a great question.
You know, I make this too because I'm not a photographer, but I take photos, and I always change the color because in my mind, like if I take a picture of my cat, well, I take a picture and the color of my cat's eyes are red. So I am being, I think, honest and real about what I'm seeing, and I have to change the color to do that. And so that's interesting. Here.
Any other questions? Well, thank you guys. You've been great. It's a hot evening.